guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Shalom. I do videos on pop culture, artists, new music releases, reviews. Sometimes I talk about deeper topics when I feel like it. If you like how that sounds, subscribe, press that notification bell, like this video, and also share it with someone who you think wants to hear some facts because it's work. And if you're returning, hi, how are you guys? You know the drill by now, like, come on. And as you see by the title, I don't really know what I'm going to title this video, but I am talking about Miss Chloe Bailey. And if you don't know, I did a video about a year ago about Chloe Bailey. It was actually my first video. The editing was awful. Okay, guys. A lot of my older videos I didn't have to edit. The editing was awful. But just listen to what I'm saying because I make good points. A lot of my old videos, the editing is horrifically bad. But just listen to what I'm saying because I make good points. Chloe Bailey, okay, there is a lot of issues with Chloe Bailey. There is so much I could talk about. I could talk about this for days, but I'm going to keep it cute, keep it short, keep it a buck. As we all know, Halle was playing Little Mermaid, and obviously she had to go abroad to film for The Little Mermaid, and that left Chloe basically doing nothing because they're a duo. Instead of, she could have just done nothing, but I feel like Chloe should have went into more acting and got into her acting bag. But Chloe chose to carry on with music as a solo artist, and obviously this is when we got Have Mercy, which was a massive hit, and it just blew everything up. However, the problem I had with Have Mercy is people said she was doing too much and she was over-sexualizing herself, which I agree with, but I feel like she's just following the Beyonce formula, which I have a problem with, because when Chloe does the most and she's licking a mic and thotting and bopping and shaking her bum and stuff, it's the secondhand embarrassment sometimes I get is a bit too much. Like, it's a bit cringy. I stopped following her, and actually I stopped following a lot of celebrities and artists on Instagram because I would get pictures like this, or I'd see videos of her sucking on lollipops, and I didn't want to see that. I just don't really care. It's quite cringy for me. And I feel like she's at a stage now where I feel like not even her, but the industry is at a stage now where like the over sexualization in music and R&B and rap, whatever, is just like it's boring now. No one cares for it anymore. I'm going to skip a bit of a discography to her debut album In Pieces, right? Wow, where do I start? So many things just went wrong, right? Where do I start? Okay, this album is basically a watered down version of Ungodly Hour, basically. Pretty shocked about, because Chloe can sing, she can dance, she can produce. She's produced a lot of the songs on Ungodly Hour, and that album didn't get the credit it deserved, but that was an amazing body of work and they should be praised for that. Her album In Pieces was just like a really watered down, lukewarm, like pop version of Ungodly Hour, and there were only, to me, in my opinion, there was only like 3 songs which I actually liked. The songs which were the best on the album were the shortest. They were like a minute long, bro. And to me, I'm gonna say this in my unpopular opinion video that's coming out on Tuesday, guys, so stay tuned for that. Honestly, I'm editing it and it is just, you guys are gonna be shocked. But I'm saying my unpopular opinions, a bit of a sneak peek. Beyonce is using Chloe, telling her to release songs which are not as good by releasing her long-awaited like 5-year album right after she released her album. Like, Beyonce, you had 5 years to plan your Renaissance album, and like you do it around like her release date. Like, come on, guys, go touch some grass. Because Beyonce knows in reality, if she was to support Chloe and actually give her the funds and the support she actually needed, Chloe would be a threat to Beyonce. If we're keeping all the way, she would generally be a threat. So that's why Beyonce is letting her, use some of the money and is helping her here and there, but she isn't fully invested. And guys, should I tell you one of the reasons why this album truly flopped and only sold 10k first week, which is actually just that's horrific. Because Chloe doesn't know her fan base. She does not know who listens to her music. Like, when she collaborated with Chris Brown, Chloe, why are you collaborating with Chris Brown when you know that your fan base is probably from the ages of, like, I would say maybe a little bit younger than me. I'm 19, so probably a little bit younger than me to about in the early 20s, like 22, 23. Even I could see that from a mile away, the backlash you're gonna get. Like, you know what I mean? And people will say, well, other artists collaborate with Chris Brown, like LMA and Danny Lay and Drake, but those are completely different fan bases. Like, they're completely different to what Chloe's fan base is, and she doesn't know it. So if I was that collab with Chris Brown really put her back, and if I was her in Parkwood Entertainment or Beyonce or whatever, I would have gotten someone completely different. I would have gotten someone who is appealing to probably like white people but also black people, so probably would have gotten someone like Justin, because Justin Bieber can sing like R&B. Do you remember that album he did in 2015? That whole album, it was just all R&B songs and he killed it. Would have gotten The Weeknd, because The Weeknd, you know, white people love The Weeknd but black people also love The Weeknd. Like, he appeals to both audiences and he appeals to both like Gen Z, millennial people. Same thing with Justin Bieber. He appeals to all people. It would be a massive collab to get The Weeknd or Justin Bieber, but they probably couldn't afford that. They didn't have the funds to be paying Justin Bieber and The Weeknd for a verse. Another thing I've noticed in Chloe's music, especially her later music, is like she tries to act like she thinks she's Summer Walker. Like, she thinks she's Summer Walker, she's SZA. Like, you know how SZA and Summer Walker, they've gotten done dirty by guys and they've had children with like multiple guys and they've got done dirty or they've gone cheated on. Like, she tries to be that when she isn't. Like, we know you're not a Summer Walker, we know you're not a SZA, but when people like SZA and Summer Walker talk about those topics, we know it's genuine because it's genuinely happened. Like, you know, Summer Walker has 3 kids with like 2 different guys. She's gotten cheated on multiple times. Like, we know that through her music and it's authentic to her. And the audience knows that. But for Chloe, I don't believe it. It's not authentic. Like, she's trying too hard to be like the girl that gets done dirty. And another thing that's been grinding my gears with Chloe is her latest song, like F Your Status. Honestly, this like, it's not even a bad song, but I was about maybe like 40-50 seconds in and I was like, no, I don't really like it. I don't like it when Chloe raps. I don't like it when Chloe raps because she cannot, I don't know, her voice, it's just not for rapping. I don't know. It's kind of like when Beyonce raps. If there's one thing I just don't like is when Beyonce raps. It's like, don't rap. Just stick to singing and what you know. That's the problem with these R&B artists these days. They try to be a rapper, they try to rap. Like, no, just stick to singing. The only people that can actually get away with that is probably Chris Brown, rapping and singing at the same time because he can pull it off. But Chloe, her voice is just not for rapping. Like, she's not a rapper. Like, that's literally why you're a singer. You are one of the best singers in this generation, but then you choose to rap. Like, let that sink in. Let that sink in. Like, you don't need to rap. You're not a rapper, and it clearly shows. And it just sounds a bit generic for me, F Your Status. It sounds like something she's had in the stash for like 6 months and was like, well, let's just release this one then. Like, and for this album Chloe's releasing, she is going to need a serious rebrand. I'm talking about, Beyonce, you're gonna have to pull out all the stops for this album if you want it to even make money. Or Beyonce, Jay-Z, if you want to recuperate that money that you put into Chloe and Halle, or Chloe's mainly, you're gonna have to rebrand this girl because the over-sexualized image isn't working, it's not sticking, people don't like it, and as I said before, it's pretty cringy and it's forced. With the F Your Status, like the visualizer, it seems like she's carrying on a little bit of that image. But the thing is, with Chloe, which I find, I did say she should go into acting, but the roles this girl takes, like why are you taking on a role where she basically ends up, had sex with that guy, everyone saw her bits and bobs, and then she was the first one to die. We literally saw you basically naked and you're the first one to die off. Like, and the main character of the show, I've forgotten her name, she said that she didn't take that role even though she was offered it. So it just shows how bad the role was. At least take some good roles. Like, I've been turned this way. She should have taken the Zendaya route into just sticking to acting. If you're gonna do another In Pieces, if you're gonna release another album which is lukewarm and which is like that, I don't want it. If I was you, I would just wait until Halle is free from doing what she's doing and can release another album together, because whatever this is, I don't want it, respectfully. And oh, this is really random. Why didn't Beyonce capitalize on the song In Pieces, like in the album? That would have been so easy to capitalize on. That could have been played on radio. That could have been played on literally any radio. You could have gotten so much radio play of that song because there's no swearing in it. It's a pop, like, ballad song on piano. She could have capitalized on that so easily. Like, what I would have gotten if I was Beyonce, I would have gotten her to play that song at maybe like a higher up like place, whether it's the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever, to let her play that song. And that would have gotten her name out a little bit more. That would have gotten a little bit more streams. And people are like, oh, Beyonce can't do everything for her. Beyonce can't do anything for her. But I feel like if Beyonce can get her a slot on the VMAs a year or so after releasing Have Mercy, I feel like Beyonce can pull a couple more strings to get her at the Grammys or to perform at the Oscars for a couple of minutes. Let's not lie here. If Chloe wasn't Beyonce's protege and she wasn't a Walmart Beyonce, Chloe would have been dropped by Columbia Records by now. She would have been dropped. because there's no way that you continue to release song after song after song, album after album. They keep flopping. You sell 10K first week and you don't get dropped. The only reason is because you got Jay-Z and Beyonce by your side. I feel like Chloe's career would have been so much successful, or the rollout for her album would have been so much better if she had just thought for herself for once, instead of going to Beyonce all the time and Beyonce saying maybe you should release this song instead, or do this and this, because Beyonce told her to release, I believe it was it Treat Me or something before another song, and I was like, why are you listening? Like, this girl is, Beyonce is literally out here to sabotage you because she doesn't want you to actually win. But if she had actually thought for herself and said, you know what, I don't want this person in my song, I want my music to be like this, this and this, her album would have been so much better. The rollout would have not have been as like messy and just long. And I get it, Chloe, you know, you like Beyonce, she has helped you in quotation marks in your career, but like, you are never going to beat these Beyonce comparisons if, like, in every interview you bring her up, like every single time you bring her up, like, Beyonce said this to me, Beyonce did this, and and oh, when I was writing this song, Beyonce, like, you're never gonna beat those comparisons, because then Chloe's was like, oh, like, I want to be original, I want to be myself, but then any waking moment you get the chance to speak, you're like, Beyonce, Beyonce, Beyonce. So you're never gonna beat those allegations of being like a Beyonce copycat. Just be yourself, just be authentically yourself, just how you were with Halle, do that music, do that exceptional music you did in Ungodly Hour, do that, but as a solo. Like, that's all we're asking for as fans. We're not asking you to lick a mic, we're not asking you to do the most, we're just asking for good quality music, which isn't lukewarm, more watered down version of Ungodly Hour. And if you had told me like Chloe would have released In Pieces, I would have told you you're lying. Like, that's the extent, that's the level. And plus, a lot of her music videos just don't look great. They look really B-tech. They look like something you could whip up in 20 minutes, like the surprise music video, was it, when she was with that guy twirling around, Scratch Off, where it was like just small snippets of behind the scenes. Like Beyonce, why aren't you giving this girl money? Like, doesn't Beyonce make like $1 billion or something, or like literally hundreds of millions of dollars from her tour, and you can't give Chloe like a cheeky 10K, a cheeky 5K for a music video or something, or for a promotion? Going back to Chloe going into acting, which I think would benefit her so much and would be so much financially better, because when you're shooting a movie and they offer you a role, they just say, right, you're going to be paid X amount. Whereas with music, it's not really guaranteed, because it depends on your streams, your sales, your whatever. And like, it is expensive, because if you think about it, you have to pay the venue, you have to pay the producer, pay the mix master person, you have to pay your dancers, all of that, and it all adds up, and it's so expensive. Whereas with acting, you don't have that headache. You just play your role, do what you need to do. And I feel like if Chloe was given the actual chance and a decent role, I feel like she could actually do well in acting. And if she took it seriously and put her all into it and just left music for a little bit, I feel like she would actually do pretty decent. She would do really well. Do what you need to do, because the music just isn't hitting for me, and it hasn't been hitting for a while, in my opinion. Please open your eyes, Chloe. I will keep saying this. Beyonce is using you, babe, because she's getting money off of you whilst doing literally nothing for your career. And I'm going to say this, I don't expect Beyonce to do literally everything. A lot of people, when Chloe released In Pieces, the album, they were saying, oh, Beyonce didn't even post it on her story, like, oh, what's going on. But to be fair, Beyonce doesn't really need to do that. She doesn't owe Chloe anything. Like, she doesn't need to do like everything for her, but she needs to do something. Like, I'm not expecting Beyonce to be promoting her album on her story. Yes, would that have helped? Yes, but she doesn't have to. Like, you know, when Beyonce was in the industry, she didn't have all this help. She didn't have people posting about her album on her story, and all these massive artists, they didn't have like higher ups helping them like that. They had to just make it themselves and actually work from the ground up. Know your fan base, who your listeners are. Try and create a fan base, because I'm not gonna lie, Chloe doesn't really have a fan base. It's basically just the Beehive, some Chloe and Halle fans, really. She doesn't really have her own main fan base, so she needs to really work and build on that. She desperately needs a rebrand. Oh my gosh, we're gonna need to do everything. We are gonna have to like pull out all the freaking stops for this, guys. People just don't care about Chloe anymore, and it's quite evident. It might not be evident on social media, because I know she does get a lot of likes on her social media and a lot of posts, but that energy doesn't translate into the music. So okay, the most strategic thing to do is, while you wait for Halle to be free, is just film a bunch of, I don't know, TV shows, series, work your way up whilst you have nothing to do. If Halle is free, that is when you strike, come back together, make another fire album, promote that, release that, and do that. But for the moment, please don't release an album if it's going to be like in pieces. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. Like, please, 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 please. And the weird thing is, In Pieces wasn't even like a horrifically bad album. It's just the best songs were just the shortest. I Don't Mind. Oh my gosh, that song's a bop. Heart on My Sleeve. Heart on My Sleeve is like the best song on the album. You cannot convince me. That's all from me. I think I've been yapping for a bit too long now, so I'm gonna go. But if you like this video, like it, obviously, duh. Um, subscribe, press the bell icon as well so you're notified each time I post, and also comment anything you think that Chloe should have done, you know, prior in her career for her solo career. I would like to see what you guys think. Okay, bye bye, guys.